The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh, got my hustle on, no imitation of that. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throbbing my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too evil and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Earnestly Podcast coming to you December 26, 2023. We are now moving forward into the holiday season. We are now officially looking for New Year's. I wanted to get a soul pod in. I was going to go. Basically, this week I was going to go very simple schedule this week. My kids are home from school for the next 2.5 weeks, which obviously takes away some time. I mean, I could record, podcasts, but I typically do a lot of my shows during the day, especially too when they're at school, my days off from work. But I've been really wanting to spend a lot of time with them this week, these next couple of weeks while they're at home from school, have some family time and whatnot. So I don't want to cram all my, even the time I have, I would normally do shows with them, around that. I want to, so I'm going to pace stuff this week, but, they'll sleep now. I have time to record here. So hope you guys had a great Christmas, of course. I had a very active weekend, as I pretty much do every year during this time of year. I gotta be honest with you, I was very gluttonous this year, with food, especially too, having family gatherings for birthdays with my nephew, my brother, and then celebrating Christmas, with friends, and then with my mother and the family and whatnot. It was, you guys know I've been going through this health journey for the last, 9 months to close to a year now. Trying to eat healthier and whatnot. I've been having some struggles with that recently. I also told you guys, I also said this too, also that I knew this week would be tough because I know, with all the events going on, it's gonna be really hard for me to stick to eating clean and all that. And I was rough. It was rough. It was rough last couple of days. I think I weighed myself, I think this morning, and I think I've gained about an extra 6 pounds since the last 2 weeks. So I have to get back back on the horse again. So I'm starting this week. I might even wait until New Year's to get back to eating healthy and get back to all that. I'm trying to get back into it now, immediately. Drinking more water, less sugar, less processed foods and all that. I stated this on the last solo episode I did on the show, that I'm looking to doing a carnivore diet, eating more meats and stuff, and doing more research on that, and trying to get all my proteins through that I need, as a type 2 diabetic, especially too. I need to, that in the studies I'm learning, there's 9 types of proteins and vitamins and stuff in meats that you don't get from vegetables also too. So I'm sure a lot of people who are vegans and are going to challenge me on that, and that's fine. I'm welcome to hear everybody's thoughts on that. But the bottom line is I need to eat healthy again. And I've been really bad. Not just this weekend, but honestly, the last couple of weeks it's been rough, honestly. So, but I'm working on that now and looking at focusing again on that as well. Don't forget to also, we're gonna record. I'm attempting to record my annual end of year Christian family podcast. Always the last episode of the year is typically done where I do my, I look forward to 2024, look back 2023. I bring my kids on, they do a segment, it's about Christmas and the holidays and all that in the year and what the goals are 2024. And my wife comes on also well too, and we do that the last couple of years. I'm hoping to get this done, recorded in the next couple of days, so I can put it out and have that for you guys probably on New Year's Eve, hopefully. So that's what's going on, of course. But like I gotta get focused back into my health. Anyway, so like I said, there was no sleeping report this week because of my kids being home, and like I said, I want to take it easy this week. So all the NFL talk this week on the show. Well, we'll still do an EJ's versus Jenner tomorrow. Tomorrow night, Thursday morning. But we'll talk. We'll also do a week 17 picks. On that, but don't report this week. But we'll talk about NFL here now. And I think the best way to do this is looking at the NFL playoff picture right now, because things are getting tight now. We are now 2 weeks away from the start of the playoffs, and things are starting to take shape in the NFL picture. If you're on YouTube, follow the show on YouTube right now, you can see on the screen right now, so I'm pulling it up right now, the current playoff picture right now, if the playoffs start today, where things stand. The AFC, of course, right now, the number one seed now currently is Baltimore Ravens. They clinched the playoff spot they clinched it last week, actually, but they're not the number one seed currently in the AFC still. They play the Dolphins this week. It's going to be a huge game. They're the 2 seed currently. The 3 seed in the AFC, of course, is the Chiefs, who have been struggling. The 4 seed is the Jaguars. This screen one's, unfortunately, screen's not showing these two teams here, unfortunately. The 5, okay, never mind. There it is. 3, the 3 of the Chiefs are here. 4 seed Jaguars, 5 Browns. The Buffalo Bills have all of a sudden climbed into the 6th seed at the with their winning against Chargers this weekend. 7 seed currently the Colts on the bubble right now. 8, 9, and 10. With the Texans, Steelers, and Bengals. Special Steelers and Bengals. 11, of course, is the Raiders. The Broncos with a long shot at 12. Of course, eliminated now with the Patriots and the Chargers right now, and the Titans as well too, and the Jets as well in the AFC right now. By the way, the Patriots was on one couple games here in the last couple weeks. In terms of what I think is going to happen here, I think the locks here, of course, I think the Ravens are going to win their game against the Dolphins. They'll quit the 1 seed next week. Dolphins, I think, will still lock up at 2. The Chiefs have been struggling, but they'll get the 3 seed. 4 seed Jaguars. I think the Jaguars, despite their struggles, and no one in the AFC South wants that division, apparently. So I think they'll find a way to clinch the 4 seed somehow, some way, win the AFC South as a 4 seed. The Browns are dangerous at the 5 seed. I think the Browns have now officially entered my Super Bowl bubble, for the record. 6 seed Buffalo Bills, like I said, they played the Pats this weekend. They should win that game at home against the Patriots before the big show against the Dolphins week 18. 7 seed is going to be weird. So I just recorded a Hello podcast a couple minutes ago before I came on doing the show, and I said, who will get this? The question was posed. Who do you think will get the 7 seed in the AFC? Right now, the Colts hold that spot now, but they got games against the Texans coming up, and the Brown also against the Falcons this week. The Falcons are always kind of weird. And I said that right now, the team I believe that might have a good chance of taking that spot, the Steelers, and for no other reason than they're just the pedigree of the Steelers, Mike Tomlin, and how they do things. How they're down to the 3rd quarterback now, Mason Rudolph, and somehow they still found a way to beat the Bengals this weekend. This past weekend, rather. So I mean, I'm going to say this with a bit of a pause here, but if you're asking me who I feel good about getting the last spot in the AFC, I'm Steelers question mark. I guess I'll go with Steelers, but I'm not confident in that, obviously. So that's where I'm at on the AFC side. On the NFC side, I think it's well more defined. I think what we see in the NFC right now currently is gonna stick. Niners are 1 seed right now currently. I think they'll get the 1 seed after win next week against I think they're playing the Commanders next week. The 2 seed Lions currently the 2 seed right now. But I think that'll change when the Eagles win as a 3 seed. 4 seed is a Bucs. I think they'll hold there. 5 seed the Cowboys will hold there. 6 seed the Rams. I think the Rams will hold that spot. I think the Rams are dangerous as hell. I think the Rams right now are the most dangerous team in that bottom of the bracket in the NFC. They do have Super Bowl pedigree. They still have Matthew Stafford. You got Cooper Kupp. Obviously, you still have Puka Nacua, who's the rookie, one of the rookie of the year finalists. I'm sure. They got Aaron Donald still. They all of a sudden they put it all together. They were just in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. So they have some of that pedigree there still. Sean McVay is still a top tier coach in the league. You can't count that out either. So the Rams are dangerous. I think the Rams, honestly, outside of San Francisco, I think the Rams can beat any of those teams in the NFC. I think the Rams, if the Rams play Detroit right now, which right now the playoffs are today, they'll be playing Detroit in the 1st round. I might take the Lions on the Rams in that game. Rather, I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but I'm not. I don't have all the faith in the world in the Lions to close it out. The Rams have a lot of pedigree there. The Rams, if they played the Eagles second round of playoffs somehow, I can see them beating the Eagles. The Eagles secondary is bad this year. And with those receivers, they can torch them. So the Rams, I can see winning a playoff game or two. Seattle 7 seed currently. They won a game against Tennessee though, but they won that game. I think they'll hold the 7 seed. I think the teams you see right now, currently NFC now as a playoff teams, are going to hold. Obviously, Minnesota 8, Atlanta 9, Packers 10, Saints 11. All 4 of those teams at 7 and 8. I don't think they'll get in. The Bears, of course, are still on barely 1% chance of getting in the playoffs, but they're on they're done. Although they've been playing much better football on the last couple of weeks. Obviously, the Panthers, Cardinals, Commanders, Giants all eliminated now from playoff contention. So that's where I'm at on the playoff situation now. We'll obviously check on that next week, and we'll figure that out. And going forward, we'll see how that plays out. But like I said, the playoff picture is getting really, really frisky right now, and we'll see how that plays out in the coming week. And we'll always touch on that on the next episode we do of this on here. What else I want to talk about here? I want to talk a little NBA talk here. Jalen Brunson has been on a roll. New York Knicks guard Jalen Brunson. And I've been watching. He crushed against Milwaukee yesterday on Christmas Day. He crushed weeks ago against Phoenix on a random Friday night where he scored 50 points in that game. He's been phenomenal. But and his ascent of Jalen Brunson has been amazing. He first off, he better make an All-Star team this year. He has been arguably the best. Arguably, I'm not saying he's definite. He's been arguably the best point guard in the Eastern Conference this year. Obviously, you're going to say, well, Damian Lillard's probably better, and you maybe have a point there, but I would argue that Jalen Brunson's meant more to the Knicks than Lillard's meant more to the Bucks. You probably say Tyrese Maxey in Philadelphia, and that makes some sense too also. But Brunson has made this team, the Knicks team, relevant for the last year and a half now. But there was an argument being made about Brunson, like the Knicks. Like a lot of folks feel like, okay, as good as Brunson is, at this team's the ceiling. Like the ceiling, like where last year, second round at best, second round playoffs, and then they're out because a lot of people don't believe in this team. Becky Hammon, who was a basketball Hall of Famer, also appearing on the NBA show on ESPN, has some thoughts about Jalen Brunson, and the Knicks as a whole. Here's a clip here.
How stuck do you think the Knicks are here in the Eastern Conference?
Well, I certainly agree with you. They're not getting into that tier. They don't have enough personnel. They don't have the manpower that they need to hang with those guys. I think you're going to get a consistent team like they've been. They're a pretty good team. They're well coached. They're going to be on their defensive game. But at the end of the day, they don't have a dude. You got to have a dude. You got to have a 1A dude. And they're missing that at the end of the day if we're just getting down to brass taxes. Sorry.
I didn't want to disagree with Becky today, but they do have their dude.
Who?
Jalen Brunson.
No, he's too small.
But here's the thing, and that's
Didn't they say about you?
But you know what?
Say that about you. You're a Hall of Famer.
I got a philosophy. Can I say my philosophy?
Go ahead.
If your best player is small, you're not winning. John Stockton, Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, you could go down the list. Steph Curry is the only.
But he's not that small. He's not that small. He's like 6'3".
But also, though, I mean, he's the greatest shooter to ever walk the planet. He's in an outlier class.
Okay. She is right. History says she is right.
Okay, but we're living in a new age. Okay, new day.
And here's the thing, Karen Perkins, who was challenging Becky Hammon's take there, he's not wrong in saying it's a new day and things can change, but history is right here. For a record, let me go ahead and correct one thing that they missed there, because they're correct on what they say about Steph Curry being the one guy, the anomaly. They're missing one guy. I don't like the disrespect that this guy continues to get. To me, the most underrated superstar in NBA history. Don't forget Isaiah Thomas was the only other guy, small guard, that won multiple titles as the best player on the championship team. Isaiah Lord Thomas was the other guy other than Steph Curry that won titles. Okay? So that's not disrespect the great Zeke, the great Isaiah Thomas, who in my opinion is a top 25 player of all time. That's not a popular take, but I'm going to tell you that anyway. Okay? I also did that beating Jordan, Bird, and Magic win titles, for the record. But that being said, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. Now, that being said, Jalen Brunson, to me, I used to, when he got to New York last year, I compared him to, I used to call him a left-handed Chauncey Billups, because Chauncey Billups was really good in Detroit when he won that 2004 title, but he was probably the best player on the team, definitely the leader of that team, but it was never defined that way. Whereas Jalen Brunson is clearly the best player on the Knicks, and I would say, just on talent alone, Jalen Brunson height of power is probably better than Chauncey Billups. And for the record, I've said too also that if the Knicks were to build a team similar to the Pistons of 04 that won a title against Kobe and Shaq Lakers, the last Kobe Shaq Lakers team, that maybe that team can possibly have a chance to get into the finals and winning the finals, maybe. That's what we would play there. But she's not wrong there. The sample size makes her argument. If you're under 6'6", 6'5", or you're a small point guard as the best, and you're the best player on the team, most likely you're not winning a title. You might get to a final, like a John Stockton, but he was 1A, 1B with Karl Malone, maybe Jason Kidd, Gary Payton, But the odds you win a title as the best player on a championship team as at that size is very rare, which is why I think guys like Steph Curry, guys like Isaiah Thomas deserve all the praise. Not only did that they do what they did, they also did it multiple times. Okay, so she's not wrong there whatsoever. She's not wrong on there whatsoever. So anyway, a couple of things to get out here. I'm gonna keep this relatively short. Love ES. I've been really enjoying the growth, and I've really been enjoying, this evolution of Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe, who was on Undisputed last year, well, actually left this early in the year. Who was on Undisputed with Skip Bayless for 7 years, came to ESPN. Well, he's not officially on ESPN. He has ESPN certain days a week on First Take and this and that. He's doing his own thing with Club Shay Shay on Nightcap, which I love that podcast. But I was watching Shannon Sharpe the other day on ESPN. He has stepped in for Stephen A. It was last Thursday and Friday as the main guy, the main talent on the show, and it hit me. Shannon Sharpe could be. I can see a scenario, and very soon too, due to certain things going on right now with ESPN. I can see a scenario where Shannon Sharpe actually is possibly the face of that company. Right now, the face of the company is probably Stephen A. Smith. Most people agree that the most popular, most well-known, not to say popular because a lot of people don't like Stephen A. Smith, but the most well-known personality or talent on the ESPN roster is Stephen A. Smith. It's not without question. I mean, the guy gets the biggest numbers. I mean, people say, "Oh, well, Stephen A. Smith says, wow, Tick is crazy, he's loud, this and that." But yeah, all his videos he does on YouTube, you can see for yourself, draw the biggest numbers. Is what it is. Now, Stephen A. Smith also has a contract that's up, I believe, if not this year, then next year. Within the next 2 years, he's up for a new deal. And look, he might still stay with ESPN. It's very possible. In fact, I would go ahead and say it's most likely he'll stay ESPN. But you also seen Stephen A. Smith in the last year or so now start to venture out and doing things outside the ESPN bubble, like his own podcast now, the Stephen A. Smith Show. That's what it is. Used to be called No Mercy. Now Stephen A. Smith Show. And he owns the intellectual property of that show. And obviously with that show, he can do a lot more the things he wants to do outside of sports. He can talk politics and culture, and he can curse more on that show, which he does. And I don't know if Stephen A. Smith wants to stay in ESPN his entire life or whatever, and maybe do another deal and then before he hangs up there. I don't know what his plans are, of course. But again, this contract situation is definitely hovering in the next year or so, 2 years, whatever, how long it's going to be. And it occurred to me watching this that I could see the scenario where Shannon Sharpe is in that seat. First Take started with Skip Bayless as the lead guy. It was Skip Bayless' show for the first, 10 years? I mean, it started as Cold Pizza in 2005. He was the lead guy. Stephen A. came on board 2011, 2012. Was there a couple of him and Skip shared that show for a long time. And then once Skip left to Fox Sports, FS1 Fox Sports, Stephen A. became the lead dog there. And now I can see a scenario where Stephen A. decides to leave ESPN or whatever it may be, that Shannon slid into that spot. And honestly, Shannon Sharpe has the talent to do it. He does. He's phenomenal. And and to me, I think he's more fresher than Stephen A. Smith. Like, how you may feel with Stephen A. Smith. I personally like Stephen A. Smith. I do understand too. Stephen A. Smith can grate certain people too in a bad way. Whereas Shannon Sharpe feels more fresh. He feels more. I don't want to say he feels more authentic. I think both guys are authentic to a point. But Shannon Sharpe just feels like a fresher face and a fresher voice, and he's wildly entertaining. I mean, again, let's watch Club Shay Shay, watch Nightcap with him and Ocho Cinco, and now Gilbert Arenas, which I'm a huge fan of that podcast, and you see it. He has the it factor. It would not shock me if Shannon Sharpe is saying 2025 or 26 is the face of ESPN, or at least is the most popular face at ESPN. It would not shock me whatsoever. So something to watch next year or two, where especially Stephen A. Smith doesn't renew his contract, of course, and decides to go independent and will go do his own thing, which he has the name value as is to do that. It just won't surprise me. Just saying. All right, one last one we got out here. I just want to keep this relatively short. And it's probably going to be the last holiday related thing before we get back to normal, of course. So my wife and I we do our normal traditions. Watch movies and Christmas movies leading up to Christmas, of course, and other things of that nature. And we watch Home Alone every year. I watch Home Alone every year for the last 30-something years. Like, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Not just Christmas movies, it's favorite movies in period. Hell, I saw that movie in real time in theaters at 10 years old. This year, though, I watched it again. I watched both Home Alone 1 and 2. I know there's a third installment, and I think even a fourth one. I've never seen before. I don't care. But this year, watching Home Alone, I have to say, Home Alone, when I watched it this year, it actually triggered me a little bit. Like in the past, it's always been like, whatever, it's a movie. But this year, maybe it's just me getting older and whatever it is. Watching the movie this year and watching both movies this year, it really triggered me across the board. Like, I'm watching the movie again, and I guess because of my perspective now, being a parent and an older adult now, approaching my mid-40s. For example, the mother, and how she operates. Obviously, the dad is, to me, is like so nonchalant about things, like how he allows this stuff to happen, and this so nonchalant about things is beyond me. Uncle Frank triggers me because he's a complete asshole and moocher and all this stuff. The Wet Bandits, the Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, and the robbers, of course, Wet Bandits. They are dumb as fuck. They're just dumb as shit. And some of the things and they're funny and entertaining, obviously, but they're dumb as hell. Just the movie itself, and then there's all the adults, and how can you be so stupid? Like all these adults in here, again, it's a movie, so I get it. I'm not trying to make it more than it really is. That's my problem. But how can there be so many dumb people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s? Is beyond me. It's beyond me. It's crazy. But it really came in like a ton of bricks this time around watching it this year. Like, how was the parents so stupid? How was Uncle Frank as not just dumb, but just a complete moocher and an asshole he is? How is the Wet Bandits are as dumb as they are as criminals? It just really hit me this year. I was like, it triggered me so much. It's why it's funny. A buddy of mine at work was talking about how, like, I had we were talking about The Office, and he's a big fan of The Office, and he had said, he's a big fan too, and I told him I did a podcast on that where I ranked my top 10 favorite characters. It was me, myself, of course, G. Stelio, of course, shout out to G. Stelio, of course, and then Roslyn Ross, shout out to Ross as well too, also. We did a podcast 3 years ago. I guess you remember this. We watched this podcast for a long time ago. We did a podcast about 3.5 years ago on that. It was during COVID, actually. It was like May 2020, May 2020. And I had shared him the episode, and he got mad because he had told me that because I had Michael Scott very low on my list, extremely low, like, and he thinks Michael Scott is the greatest character of all time. And I told him the reason why I could not put Michael Scott as high on my list is because Michael Scott, when I watched that show, Michael Scott triggered me in a way because he was so fucking stupid. He was just so dumb, like blatantly dumb. I couldn't stand it, and it triggered me. That's how I felt watching Home Alone this year. Like, how can so many adults be just so blatantly stupid and idiotic? Again, I'm in my feelings because these are TV shows and movies, and this is entertainment, so I get that. But it hit me like a ton of bricks this year for some reason. The same way The Office hit me when I watched it in 2020. How can Michael Scott be so dumb? So, yeah, that's just my story about Home Alone. Look, do I like the movie less? No. I'm a massive fan of the movie anyway, first off. So let's start there. But it's just that this year, for the first time, it actually triggered me in a way that it never had before in the past. So, anyway, that was it for me on the show. I want to keep it short and simple. I am on Twitter /X at EJ Christian 7. Of course, guys, please, if you have a chance, subscribe to my YouTube page at youtube.com/@Earnest Christian. We recently just passed 300 subscribers. We're trying to get to 400 soon. Please be part of the ride, of course. We have a lot of stuff coming up, of course, in 2024, projects and new podcasts and all this stuff. Like I said, we have this show. We have my wrestling retrospective show, which I'm recording another episode hopefully tomorrow as well. Looking for that. I got another announcement coming up soon with my basketball retro podcast, bringing that into full circle in February. And yeah, that's about it for now. So we'll talk to you guys soon. And we'll have a couple of shows rest of the week to end the new year. So we'll talk soon. Love you guys. Take care and see ya.